shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
Let's go! Life is so good right now. I've got my Chinese on my way to my first training session of the year, and I'm listening to Adele. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It's currently the last day of January. It's just a line, and the stars literally just a line in the favour. Thought I'd do like a little January recap, especially because it has been my first month training pretty much full time as a talent athlete. I've been in uni as well full time, and I've been working part time, and obviously trying to document the journey like this. I think this would make a really nice 12-part series. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Obviously the big news, I guess if it's big news even, is that there is another camp coming up next month. So today's Saturday and we're going away on Tuesday to La Flan. It's going to be up first. Obviously naturally I'm really excited for that camp. I've done as much work as I think is appropriate for that as well. Like, done a lot of memorization, a lot of visualization. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to show you guys maybe an overlay or whatever, but I'm going to show you guys my first ever gym session that I did when I came back to uni in January. My first ever track session after tracks reopened, because we had a bit of a slow week. I'm actually really surprised how quickly the human body is able to adapt to things. Now, obviously, I've always been involved in some sport. I would never, ever honestly say that I've been like an elite athlete or trained like one or done anything crazy or such. Like I did Muay Thai growing up, boxing, climbing, cycling, all of these kind of sports. So for me, like I would never say, I would always say like I had a pretty decent base, but I was never ever like training properly in the gym. I mean, even when I say I did athletics and stuff, I was training perhaps like once a week, if that, maybe once every other week, once every month kind of thing. So yeah, for me, I think the positive thing is just how quickly the body's been able to adapt. How injury resistant. I mean, it's only been a month, so we can't really speak. And to be fair, I haven't actually been training with like the professional S&C guys. So again, I assume it'll be better when we're training with them. But
out in the street, they call it murder.
Can rock, can put the thugs and can put. Crown up in a van back. It's in a your handbag. Your knapsack, it in a your backpack. This melody your girlfriend contact.
So the thing that I've been surprised by, not in a negative way, but I just wasn't expecting, and I don't think anyone really speaks about, is I'm actually genuinely a very normal person, and I've always seen myself as a very normal person. So for me, when I had my TAS on board and I walked into the gym, and you know, it's like professional box this and this guy's there and that guy's there, and there's kind of like the testing is a bit different to what you're kind of used to. And not just that, but when you go on camps, for example, we was on the last camp and you're seeing like all these athletes, and like you see them on Instagram and you see them on TV, and it's like, oh yeah, they're cool, but you don't associate them with a real kind of person. And then before you know it, you're kind of in the Hunderfossen, which is the hotel we were staying at, and like all these athletes are there. So I think one thing that I think has been made quite apparent, but I'm still kind of not necessarily struggling with, it's just feeling like you fit in the room, because I think you go from like having never experienced that to sort of being chucked straight into a room with all of these people, and I think there is a certain element of like, not imposter syndrome, but a certain element of like, I need to prove myself. But I think for me, what's worked really well is just remembering that it's actually my own journey. And I'm not even here to compete with myself. I'm just here to do it as best as I can today. If that happens to be my best ever, that happens to be my best ever. And if that happens to be my worst ever performance, that just happens to be my worst ever performance. It doesn't say to who I am, or it doesn't say that I don't belong in certain rooms. So I think as well for me, just because of the way I am, I've always said the mind is the only thing, your thoughts are the only thing you can control, right? So I think for me, just trying to stay in a positive mental state, working really closely with counsellors, my own counsellor, has been really good. Yeah, man. Enjoy the views, enjoy the butterflies, enjoy the scenery. Reconnect with the nature, all the grass. There is actually grass next to it.
I made a decision last night that I was
Die for it. Just to show the city what it takes to be alive for it. Can't get me on the line, so they hang me out to dry for it.
So yeah, another question I thought I might answer is, how do you prepare for an upcoming camp? What I do now is I lie on the table, on the kitchen table, my head kind of on the end, and then I put my laptop in front, and then that kind of just helps me learn the track. Just doing that as much as I can, slowing down the videos, watching how different, like all the different curves and stuff like that. So as long as I do that, I feel like it's very much like an exam, where if you look over all the PowerPoints and you practice as much as you can, yes, it's not the final exam, but I think when you get onto the track, it's kind of as frictionless as possible, and the transition from virtual to real is as smooth as possible. I guess this is also kind of an opportunity to like appreciate all the people that have actually supported. And it sounds really cliche because you think it's an individual sport and kind of like it's you versus the world, but one thing I found is that like even just friends helping me to learn the track, family, coaches, it sounds really cliche, but it really wouldn't be possible without people like that to support you. When I think of sport now, it's kind of, I think of it more like a project, kind of like, this is gonna sound really weird, but I think of myself as like a massive science experiment, right? And if you get all of that, the variables, right, the independent variables and the dependent variables and all of these things, and if you engineer the perfect conditions for this science experiment, the experiment will do well. Like it will just, I don't even know how to describe it, but like it will just work. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's this chemical you want and you put all the right ingredients in and the activation energy is correct and the temperature is correct and the conditions are correct and it's perfectly sealed vacuum and not a single bacteria has infiltrated the area, then it just has to work. One day I won't be an athlete anymore, and one day I'll probably be too old to walk and I'll be sat in a wheelchair. And I'll look back on these days and I think as difficult as my life is now and as difficult as I guess I make it, because it is also a choice to do all of this, I think this is what's going to give me a genuine satisfaction when I'm 80, and I know that during my childhood and during my youth and during the times when I had energy, I was actively and actually trying to push myself and do something with myself. And I guess for me, it's the only way I can actually look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day and respect myself. So I don't know what a psychologist would say about that, but probably not great, is it? But
this part of my life is called peace.
this would be the perfect time for Colours, the song Colours by Black Humour, to just roll through. Oh, my favourite. Guys, you know what? I thought I'd do a cheeky message to the Pingus. The Pingu Slippery Sliders. Ahlelele. Okay. Anyways, this is my message to the Pingu Slippery Sliders. All 8 of us, or 9 of us potentially. I haven't planned this message in advance. I actually have no idea what I'm about to say. But I'm looking forward to seeing you all again. Being together on Tuesday. I say that, but I'm really not, because 3 weeks of brain rot. I think by the end of it, brain-eating bacteria will genuinely starve in my brain. But no, on a serious note, I am looking forward to seeing you guys. Just please chill on the brain rot, please chill on the TikTok sound. I know I'm the biggest culprit for it, but it's just because it's so infectious. But no, I'm joking, I love you guys, for real. And yeah, man, let's smash it. I think we're such a fun group, we're such a good one. Let's smash it, man. The brain rot is starting through the camera and you aren't even here. But yeah, I guess Pingus as well. Welcome to Liverpool. I don't know if any of you have been here, but it is the best city in the UK. Unbiased opinion, obviously. Yeah. See you on the club.
It's a good day to be, a good day.